Hey, welcome to Film versus Movie, the podcast where we debate the cinema you hate. I'm your co-host, Belton Delane Facey.
My name's Chris Scher.
And on this podcast, we watch the films that have been slandered, desecrated, and sentenced to 24 hours of C-SPAN by public opinion. And one of us tells you why it's actually pretty good.
And the other one's going to tell you why it's a steaming pile of shit.
And today, we have a special guest with us. Please welcome actress, filmmaker, and Jeopardy runner-up, Anna Paone.
Woo!
Hi, everybody.
Hey. And would you like to tell everyone the movie we'll be discussing today?
Yes, we'll be discussing 1992's Stay Tuned.
Yes, starring John Ritter as he goes through just TV channels from hell. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen the Fairly Odd Parents special Channel Chasers. This just reminded me a lot of that.
I was thinking of the Rick and Morty interdimensional cable.
That too.
I thought they did. I think this movie was a little ahead of its time. Like this, I don't know. This seems like something that would come out now.
Oh, I felt the opposite. I was just like, this was clearly made by someone who entered adulthood when there were only 5 TV stations. All right.
Yeah, I agree about that. I thought it was very strange. It was kind of low stakes, even though it was about saving your soul.
Yeah. Like, you know how like every generation there's like some new technology where older people say like, oh, this is the devil. I feel like that's how like these filmmakers treated just multiple TV stations.
I think, was that the advent of cable? Like around 92?
It must have been. It must have been like when a lot of stuff was really coming up, because you think MTV came out in the 80s. So like a lot of stuff had to come to. Also, like 24-hour news was either 80s or 90s.
Anna, do you know?
That sounds right. I would say, I feel like 24-hour news was a 90s thing, but I definitely could be wrong. And yeah, it definitely felt like a response to the advent of cable, increase in channels, and the message is sort of, you're a bad person if you want to watch TV.
The Gulf War. The Gulf War was the first major event that 24 News Hour news channel covered, or news coverage.
All right. All right.
Wait, I have a Jeopardy question. When did you appear on Jeopardy?
It shot about a year ago, May 22nd, I think. And then it aired on July 9th of 2024.
Did you have not Trebek? Who's the guy?
Ken Jennings.
Ken Jennings.
Yeah, I'm a big Ken Jennings fan. I have to say, I watched a lot of his original run, and I always thought he was very funny and smart back in 2004. And I think he is well deserving of the hosting spot. I was super excited to meet him. I felt really old when one of my compatriots who was also filming that day didn't remember him as a contestant.
How long were you trying to get on Jeopardy for?
I took the test originally in 2017, which is when they only had a few set days of the year where you could take the test. And then now you can take it anytime. And I took it in 2022 when I was pregnant with my daughter. And then I got a call to do, or an email to do a second online test where they just want to have your camera on so they make sure you're not cheating or looking at anything. And you just type in the answers. And then the third round is that you participate in a mock gameplay audition where you get to talk and they want to see your personality.
Oh, okay.
And so I was in their system, in their roster for about 2 years, from 2022 until 2024, and then I got the call.
What was your little personal story?
I talked about a film I made in Metuchen, that's what it's called, based on my hometown of Metuchen, New Jersey, and how my mom played the role of my mom in the film, my sister played my sister, and my dad didn't want to be in it, so I hired a comedian to play. And I workshopped this a lot with Matt, my husband.
Okay, that's a good call, because sometimes people get on and they haven't really thought of it, and then they just deliver like the worst story ever.
Yeah, I know there was one clip of like one contestant. This was when Alex Trebek was still hosting. She went on this like tangent about like nerdcore rap, and Alex was just like, "Oh, so you're losers."
I feel like I'm probably in the same Facebook groups and Discords with whoever it is, so I better be careful.
Wait, last question. How much did you study for it? Or you
A
just
lot, but you really only have a month. So, and I saw something online from a past contestant that said something like, you're just hurting yourself by trying to cram. It's essentially studying whatever trivia you already know. So I studied the presidents. I studied world capitals, although I still don't think I got any capital ones. When I got the clues were part of my game about world capitals, but I don't think I got any right. And I studied just kind of concrete facts that could help. And then I got Matt to tell me about classic rock in case that came up.
did you get potables?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I
okay.
wish I would have.
Yeah, I just think Jeopardy needs to do like American Idol, where every so often they just get the people who did the worst on the test on there.
Well, I'm a big Survivor fan, and I really want to see a Survivor season that's all people who got voted out first.
Okay, like as a fellow Survivor fan, so my thing is, you know how anytime there's a cop on Survivor, they just act super weird and
Mhm.
make it a big secret that they're a cop. I think they need to have one season where everyone's a cop, but they don't tell them that's the theme. So it's just a whole lot of people acting weird.
Oh, I like that. Or lawyers. Because
Yeah,
lawyers like Kyle, who won this last season.
yeah.
Lawyers usually hide what they do.
Everyone's a cop, one criminal. One guy who is in the pen for a long time.
Belton, are you excited about season 50?
I haven't been a Survivor fan for too long, so I don't know half the names.
Well, yeah, I got to admit, when I hear the current players who have such good memories and who are so up to date on what's happened in every season, I don't think I could do that. I mean, I've been watching since like 2001 or 2002, and it's kind of all a blur to me, but I'm excited. Season 50 is going to be all returnees, so I'm excited about that.
Is it like they're bringing back all the winners?
Not all the winners. They're just bringing back a whole lot of former players. They're supposed to be fan favorites, but like some fans are upset about who got brought back.
Are they going to bring back the guy who produced White Lotus?
Yes, they are bringing him
Oh,
back.
awesome.
Yeah, apparently he really wanted to do it. He kept like emailing the production, being like, "I will come back on. I will delay the next season of White Lotus for this." Well, we should probably talk about the movie.
Yep.
All right, so stay tuned. It opens on this weird salesman coming to a house selling this couple of TV. They get sucked in. Then it cuts to Roy Naple, who is just overworked, frustrated with life, TV addict. So he just sits in front of TV, flipping through channels.
That little kid in that opening narration was just like tearing his dad apart.
Yeah, he really was. So there's opening narration from Roy's his son, and the whole thing is just like, yeah, my dad just sits in from the TV. Then he goes to a job he hates
that he's bad at too.
Yeah.
And then he comes home and his wife hates him, and I don't even respect him.
Yeah, and so while he's watching TV, his wife Helen comes in. They get into a fight over TV watching. She wants to do other things. They're just this as a couple. In the fight, she breaks the TV. Then a salesman known as Mr. Spike comes to her door, offers a TV with this high-tech satellite dish that gets a whole lot of channels, specifically 666 channels they don't normally get. And so he accepts the free trial. Once Helen sees it, that's when she decides they're getting divorced. Then they get sucked into the satellite dish because it turns out Mr. Spike is an employee from hell, and the dish is their way of procuring souls from TV addicts. They're sucked into what they call Hellavision, and they must physically go through different channels. Each one has a new way to kill them. If they survive for 24 hours, then they're free. Which I have to say, the salesman showed up, the TV and dish was installed same day. Why is the best cable customer service from literal hell?
I'm just like, he should have caught on. 666 channels.
Yeah.
This was like so over the top in terms of like devil themed. Like I feel like he overlooked a lot.
Yeah. Also, what kind of salesman goes to your house in the middle of the night?
Yeah, I'd admit it. I don't know. I guess he was addicted. But
yeah, because I mean, like when I worked for the census in 2020, they were just like, yeah, don't show up after certain times. People will just be upset you ruined their evening.
The thing I don't get with this is why is the devil making it so difficult? I mean, they did say like nobody's ever survived this, but what's with this convoluted way of getting souls?
Yeah. I think this is a real devil went down to Georgia situation where like it doesn't make any, like, why does the devil have a quota of souls? Does the devil have a boss? Like, I think this is one of those things where the devil just was like, what if we had a new system? He's just trying to shake things up in hell.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine it's sort of like The Good Place where they're kind of like, you know, we've been doing this for eternity. We're just bored. Let's shake things up a bit.
Okay. And here's my other thing. Were all the people running the TV station like humans or were they demons?
I assumed they were demons.
But then I thought that the guy who got brought up, who ended up being the manager at the end of the movie, was like a human who died and then was promoted out of hell into like the level of devil or demon. I think I just misunderstood it.
Honestly, that's very plausible. I'm not quite sure about the details of his internship.
I just like that there's some upward mobility in hell.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, hell would also have internships. Let's be real. All right. So the first game that Roy and Helen pop in on is a game show and then a WWE style match. In those, some of their relationship issues come to light. How they don't feel close anymore and don't feel comfortable telling each other things. Then they get to this channel of just outdoor winter wilderness. That's where they meet Crawley, a recently exiled former employee. He helps guide them through to get to these portals that take them to different channels. Meanwhile, in the real world, their son and daughter get home, find their parents missing. Daughter decides to throw a party. Their son Daryl starts going through TV. He recognizes them on TV after his bike is sucked into the satellite, and he starts using his tech skills to save them. Once he gets his sister on board, and essentially starts playing God. He saves them by hacking into the satellite dish from hell, and just voicing as God while Roy and Helen are stuck in the French Revolution. And so that means 24 hours is up. Roy is free, but Spike finds a loophole to restart Helen's 24 hours. So Roy goes back in to face off against Spike. They eventually land on Medieval Show, where Roy wins because he's a very experienced fencer. They get out, and the movie ends with Roy opening up a fencing school after quitting his sales job.
Okay, I'm going to admit I ran out of time on my way here a little bit. I didn't see the last second. I did not know he opened a fencing school.
Yeah, I mean, the fencing thing, it was slightly hinted at and foreshadowed in the beginning, but like they do not do a whole lot of it, so it does feel out of nowhere when you watch it for the first time.
Oh, I knew that's how they were going to end it. It was like Chekhov's gun. They open with a fencing sword. They've got to close with a fencing sword. Plus, the moves he was doing at the beginning of the movie looked pretty good.
I do not know what expert fencing moves look like.
Haven't you seen The Parent Trap, the remake?
I haven't seen it in a while. More recently, I saw fencing in the Olympics last year, but that does not look how you imagine fencing looks, because it's a lot of like they're analyzing each other's body language to try to figure out the moves. So it's like they're really only going at it for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, that's not my jam.
I took fencing lessons briefly with my mom, and it was 45 minutes of having to jog around this tiny gym and then 15 minutes of actually fencing.
That's extremely disappointing.
And she and I aren't too good at jogging.
If I didn't get like a 50-50 of holding and using a sword, I'd probably say something.
Yeah, I'm just imagining the instructor actually wasn't sure how to fence. So like while everyone's jogging, she's just like Googling stuff to try and make sure she's ready.
If I don't know how to fence, will they know I don't know how to fence? Or if they don't know how to fence, will they know I don't know how to fence too? Last time I went to a class, it was 45 minutes of jogging at the beginning.
Yeah. All right. So this film was directed by Peter Hyams. He has a few other films under his belt. It's mostly low budget stuff. The most famous film of his outside of this is probably Time Cop with Claude Van Damme. And it was written by 3 people. First is Thomas Parker and Jim Genuine. They are a writing team. They've worked together on various films in the 90s, including Richie Rich, the live action Flintstones movie, and Major League 2. And as a fun fact, in the early 2000s, they actually quit the film industry to just write fantasy novels together.
Are they successful?
I mean, they have some novels out. To be honest, I did not recognize the series they did. They did Rune Warriors.
I haven't heard of that.
Yeah,
sounds pretty generic. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, that's how I feel about every fantasy novel title, honestly.
Den of Swords. Harness of Shields.
Honestly, there probably is some like fantasy novel name generator generator that's just like name a place that isn't like a proper noun, and then find a weapon, and that's how you find your fantasy novel title.
Solitude and Celestials. All right, that's the last one I'm going to pitch.
All right. Well, the other writer is Richard Siegel. He only has one other writing credit on IMDb, and that's a TV show called Mission Hill. And so Warner Brothers originally wanted Tim Burton to direct this, but apparently he declined because he was still upset that Warner Brothers wouldn't fund Edward Scissorhands, which eventually went to 20th Century Fox. And so he told him, the only way I'll work for you again is if you let me do a Batman sequel with full creative control. And that's what happened. And that's how we got Batman Returns.
I would have liked to see the Tim Burton version of Stay Tuned.
I think it would have been really good.
Yeah.
I think it would have been like a full-on cult classic.
Yeah, I'm curious just because he's very known for a specific visual style. It would have been interesting to see how he handled like all the different channels going in and out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then last thing, in 2020, AMC announced that they were developing a TV adaptation of this movie. I could not find any news about it since 2020.
That had what? What? Who came up with that? Like Eugene Levy? Did John Ritter's ghost call in? Who knows this movie? I've never heard of it before.
I had never heard of it before you guys told me to watch it.
Yeah, neither have I. It's because like when I saw that, I was just like, oh, is this actually just a cult classic? From what I can find, no, it's not. Like I don't know how you pitch this, especially when like the appeal of remakes and adaptations is like, oh, this already has a built-in audience.
I mean, I think it could work in streaming.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it could definitely work.
I actually think it could be great, but I just don't know how someone pitched it.
Yeah. Honestly, I think they should do it because like. I'm for the whole thing of like, hey, let's start trying to adapt good ideas that just didn't do that well originally, and I feel like this fits.
I think it would be interesting on TV since you're playing with the medium itself. I forgot. Oh no, honey.
Oh no.
Sorry.
Let's go support her.
Oh, that's so sweet. I don't want her on
Here,
social media.
I'll get you out of your mom.
Does Louisa have thoughts on Stay Tuned?
I wouldn't let her watch it. Oh, I have no objection in theory with her coming in, but I don't want her face on social media.
Gotcha.
I don't. Can you can't see her in my frame, can you?
Nope.
No.
Hi, honey. That's so sweet of you.
Did you hear what she said?
That she wants to support you.
Yes.
That's so sweet.
She got you a Coke Zero.
Oh, she's getting me my Coke Zero. No, I just think it could be interesting. I'll get my Coke Zero and then I'll shut the door. This is like that BBC interview. It could be interesting within, that everyone's watching on the frame of their TV, and this is playing with TV genre, and certainly TV's undergone a lot of changes. Thank you so much, honey.
Oh,
I really appreciate it.
we can just cut it.
Yeah, go get your seltzer. Thank you. Certainly TV's changed a lot in the past 33 years, and it could play with a lot of current conventions. But yeah, I don't know who really needs a remake of Stay Tuned.
Yeah,
I do. I'm just gonna come out and say it. The ideal audience is me because I really love this movie.
I mean, I'm curious how it would do, just because like right now it feels like media is much more segmented. Like there are very few shows that feels like, oh, everyone's watching and talking about it. It feels like everyone has their own section of the internet.
Which one was the last one? I want to say like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Game of Thrones. It does feel like HBO is like a lot of it, because it does feel like White Lotus and The Last of Us are stuff like a lot of people talk about.
I guess like first season of Squid Games was after Game of Thrones. There's been a couple other Netflix shows that I would say did the same thing. But
Succession.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Succession.
there you go. Yeah, that's probably. You gotta have premium TV.
Yeah, pretty much.
They have to try, which I just feel like so many people don't try very hard.
The thing is, I see this all the time. I mean, I'm off Twitter now, but I used to see this on Twitter all the time. People say, actually, Succession has fewer viewers than The Good Doctor or something. Something on the networks that's not as talked about, ostensibly not as talked about.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've read is that a lot of people who still watch strictly network TV, so like not even those network shows, they watch them on Hulu or something, they tend to be older, so probably off the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like this is also a conversation that happens like every mayoral race, where everyone online is just like, okay, we're not voting for Eric Adams. We're not voting for Eric Adams. Then the election happens, and it's like, how did Eric Adams get elected, guys? I thought we were in this together. And it's like, you gotta remind people, a lot of people who voted are not on the internet.
Look, the Upper East Side is going for Eric Adams.
obligatory, don't rank Eric Adams or Cuomo.
Yes, do not rank Eric Adams or Cuomo. All right, but this movie came out August 14th, 1992 on an estimated budget of $25 million. It only made $12 million at the box office, and it currently stands at a 44% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb.
I read that backwards and was about to be like, yeah, they made double the amount. This is like, this is a really good movie. Deserves a sequel.
Sorry.
No, go.
I asked my dad if he's heard of it, and his viewing habits are not dissimilar to John Ritter's at the beginning of the movie, where he'll watch anything at any time of day. He can pick up something on any channel and engross himself in it. I think my parents' marriage is better than the one depicted in the movie. But he had never seen it, and I thought for sure this was a movie he would have seen.
Well, $12 million worth of people saw it.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. So, like, I'm the one who runs our TikTok account. It's like we'll post clips of us talking about like the most niche movies, and it's like whoever's wrong is whoever is criticizing the movie, because somehow the comment section will be filled with people going like, actually, this was my favorite movie growing up, and you could just be like, this movie was rated R. Why were you watching this when you were 6?
Someone posted on Reddit recently. They posted a comment and they're like, yeah, I was watching According to Jim the other night. And so I was like, where were you watching According to Jim? And they were like, in my home, thank you very much. And I was like, I'm not even hating on According to Jim. I am just asking, where do you watch it? Because I can't find it anywhere. And they're like, oh, I'm in Canada. It's still on in Canada. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. I wanted to be like, and you're a fucking loser for watching According to Jim, but I decided not to. I looked at their profile and they didn't have a lot going on.
I have 2 thoughts on that. First, I studied abroad in Belgium in the fall of 2008, and Dharma and Greg was in syndication there. So I watched some of that, and that was definitely something I wouldn't have seen otherwise. And then secondly, I really don't want to get canceled by Stay Tuned lovers.
I'm sure all 10 of them will do their best, but we won't let them.
Yeah, all 10 of them will somehow find our comment section.
They're like, I've had this Google alert for Stay Tuned ready and going since 2003.
No, it's like after AMC announced the TV adaptation, they're like, I Google it every day to see new news, and like, you guys are the only ones who showed up. All right. Well, now it's time for our opening statements. Chris will be defending the film, and I will be attacking.
Okay, you want me to start?
Yep.
Stay Tuned is a fun, zany comedy that was ahead of its time in identifying the desocializing effects of technology on society. It's a fun romp with a lot of dated references that will pull you into its charm.
Stay Tuned has a lot of moving parts that don't quite come together. Good for some laughs, but insist on playing the classic 90s game of trying to create the worst on-screen dad possible. Devoid of interesting characters, you'd be forgiven if you tuned out. So, Anna, do you have any initial thoughts on the film?
Oh, well, I feel like I already gave away all my thoughts. Yeah, I mean, I did love the fun 90s looks and references. And as we kind of discussed, it was interesting to see kind of the monoculture of what shows were referenced and what was popular at the time. But yeah, like I said, I feel like it's the villains oddly don't have a motivation besides they're in league with Satan.
Isn't that what the dude was getting at? Where he's like, we need subtext. And he's like, we don't do subtext here.
Yeah, it's like the intern came in thinking like, oh, I'm going to create actual TV. And then it's just like, you are in hell. You need to remember that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of paint by numbers. I think they're definitely having fun with genre. I don't know. What's the format? Should I talk about the end or not yet?
You can talk about anything.
Yeah, obviously I think the big showpiece is the climax when he's fighting with Spike and they go through all the different TV shows and the different genres. And so that's kind of fun, but it's all a little bit paint by numbers and a little bit cliche.
Yeah, I kind of feel that, especially during the first act before they get sucked into to TV. It's like they wanted to go through introducing the characters as quick as possible, and so like you don't really get to like to get to know them. It's just like information, 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 especially with the voiceover.
Well, it's an 88-minute movie. They didn't even get to 90s. So, like, admittedly, they needed to be a little efficient.
But that's the thing. Like, I feel like they didn't need that long of scenes to set up, because the main thing you need to know about Helen Roy is Roy hates his job, feels undervalued there. Then he goes home where he doesn't feel connected to his wife, and then he goes into the TV. Helen, they present as zero flaws. Like, like they're like, oh, there's nothing wrong with her. Her problem is her husband sucks.
Well, admittedly, like before they went into the TV, I think a divorce might be the right choice.
I mean, yes, very clearly, but also, what part of that like really forced him to be a better husband?
I think it's because he almost lost everything. But then, yeah, that's pretty much it. He didn't really have a need to grow. It was just more like, oh boy, all this is awful.
Okay, also, like, this might be a bit of sidetrack. I feel like this movie did this was like made by someone who doesn't watch sports, because it does this thing I find people who watch no sports do, where they assume if you watch one sport regularly, you just watch all the sports. Because like at the beginning, he's watching about a basketball game, which is like logically in storytelling, you think like basketball would come up later, but then like during the game show, oh, he missed their anniversary to watch baseball, and then like they're sent in a hockey match. It's like you could have just had him watch a hockey game, and all of that just makes more sense.
I think that's just being man-coded in the 90s. You're man-coded. You watch sports. You drink beer. You're a bad husband. You have a shallow relationship with your kids. That's how you get man-coded in 90s movies.
I was just going to say, I thought you had a really good point, Belton, about the character of Helen. And I'm kind of glad they didn't do something like she was too high-powered and she ignored her family, because she mentioned she got a promotion. But yeah, besides that, she's a little bit opaque. And it's hard to, she's got no flaws. She's just a foil for her husband.
Yeah.
It's classic 90s sea-level movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think I honestly thought the best part was the skits in between. So like the different strokes, where it's just two different people having strokes next to each other.
Oh, yeah.
Shit, what were some other ones? I like the pranking an old woman by telling her that her husband's dead. And then they're just like, oh, it's the van across the street. And she's like, oh my God. Like,
oh yeah, no, because this those felt like Family Guy cutaway gags, but in the best way. Like those are parts where like I definitely feel like they had fun writing them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my personal favorite was driving over Miss Daisy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, John Ritter knows how to pull a gag.
Oh yeah, no, no. I would say he was really good in this movie.
Yeah.
I enjoyed him. I would say I'm still unsure how scary this movie was supposed to be. Like Like I'm not sure if they were just going for cheesy or if they wanted certain parts to actually be scary.
What was this movie rated?
PG.
Okay, so I think if you were a child watching this, it would have some genuinely scary moments.
Maybe, but also if, like, for most of the channels where they're supposed to be like trying to survive, it didn't feel like they were in that much danger.
No, it really didn't. I'm trying to think of like which one had the most potential to die. And I guess like when the bullets are getting shot all around in the restaurant.
Oh yeah, because like at least their neighbor does actually die in that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, but because it's like you open on the game show, and like they answer these questions. That last question, that was like an English teacher question, like where they ask like which one of you is talking to a former lover. There's like both of us because we're not lovers anymore. It's just like, okay, that is like middle school English bullshit.
That's like a pretty good trick question by the devil, though. You get them suspicious by revealing facts, and then you pitch them a question that makes them distrust each other. I think if I were Satan coming, I thought that kind of worked in terms of like it was a good trick question. It showed that everything's rigged against him, and that she's smart as a whip.
Yeah, very true. Although I feel like her being smart just did it ever come up again?
No.
She was doing some smart dodges in the boxing scene.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, true. Yeah, no, she was great there. But also like I will say on like the outside real world, their daughter did nothing. Like she got in the way most of the movie.
I love that one kid is like the future Unabomber. He's just like, yeah, you give me a stereo, a satellite, a television. I can tell the masses what's wrong with society.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm going to have my friends over.
Yeah, he hacked into a satellite dish from literal hell. Like, I don't know. He gets too much for allowance. That's all I have to say.
He was selling videos of his like sexual acts of his sister online for $3 a piece.
That was weird.
Yeah, it was pretty weird. Although, like, that shit would pop up in the 90s more.
Yeah.
Like, I remember I've seen animated shows with similar plot lines.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because back when the internet didn't exist, it's just like, hey, you want to see this girl kiss? Ooh.
They handled the cross-dressing with a surprisingly small amount of transphobia. They could have gone real nasty there, especially for the 90s.
Yeah. Honestly, I was just expecting like a French version of Some Like It Hot.
Yeah, I was definitely expecting it to get a little iffy there.
Yeah, I honestly don't have a ton to say about this movie.
Yeah, but I mean, also going back to the introduction is like a lot of the dialogue is just very on the nose. Like whenever, like first off, it does. He and Helen don't talk about their problems that much. When they do, it's just brief scenes where it's like they blatantly just say what's wrong. Like in the wrestling scene where he's like, "Why didn't you tell me you got a promotion?" And she's just like, "Cause my success threatens you."
Yeah, I guess they didn't really show that her success threatens him.
Yeah, because again, we didn't see a whole lot of their home life aside from him just sitting on the TV.
Yeah, wouldn't her success have kept him happy in front of the TV? He could have quit his job. What was it, plumbing?
It was some sales job, I think.
Oh yeah, didn't everything fall out of his bag and fall down a set of stairs?
Yeah, they gave him one scene at work where it's like he goes to a building, elevators out, he goes up the stairs just to see like they moved, and then everything just comically falls out. Also, in that scene, he struggles to get his briefcase out of the car and accidentally throws it onto the road. Like that was one of the goofiest things I feel like we've seen for this podcast.
Okay. I got another. I feel like they show this a lot in 90s movies. Wild dogs that just attack neighbors. Were there a lot of pit bull attacks in the 90s? Like a lot of unchained dogs in movies that just like terrify neighbors consistently.
Yeah, honestly, at the beginning when the neighbor brought the dog around and he's just like, "Hey, your dog keeps breaking down our fence." The dog is literally barking in the man's face, and he's just like, "What? He's a good boy." Which, to be honest, I feel that is exactly how people talk about their dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless they really suck. In which case they're like, I hate this piece of shit.
See, here's the thing. If someone tells me that their dog doesn't behave well, I actually feel like that's a sign they're a good dog owner. Because a bad dog owner will have a misbehaving dog and act like they're well behaved.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like a good dog owner will be like, "Hey, if you run up to him on his left side, he will bite you. So don't do that."
You want to get to 3 things?
Yep. All right. Now it's time for our concessions. This is where I give 3 things I liked about the film, and Chris gives 3 things she didn't like. First off, John Ritter did a good job at acting. He really plays this like charming goof well.
Yeah. Kind of like a more clean-cut David Duchovny.
Yeah. I feel like they just both have that men's 90s haircut.
And they're both like handsome but approachable.
Yeah.
It's a very dated movie. I guess it's unfair to criticize it on, but like the references are old. If you're gonna watch it now, you might not get most of it.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of references I just did not get and flew over my head. I will say, like, the ones I did, and like this is leading to my next point. It's like I think they did really well. Like again, the driving over Miss Daisy's and different strokes. I think they did well. My next point is that like I will get each world is like fully realized. Like I mean, if you look at it, you can kind of tell it's like some of them had like low budgets, but they worked with that well. And like I feel like it feels similar to like Everything Everywhere All at Once, where they were like, okay, this is going to be on screen for 10 seconds. Let's make sure it's a good 10 seconds.
I can't believe they threw in a whole animated segment too.
Yeah, and they actually got Chuck Jones to work on it.
Who's Chuck Jones?
He was a big animator that did like Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
A lot of the classics.
Well, I mean, wasn't this a WB movie?
Yeah.
Okay, so they probably just like farmed it out into their animation studio.
Yeah. No. Apparently, they spent a lot of time on this. That sequence was being worked on while the rest of the film was being shot.
It's a little tropey, specifically early 90s. Piece of shit husband, high-strung mom, always complaining, nerdy brother, kind of daughter who's just not interested in anything going on around her.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, did this run through your heads when watching the daughter? She would throw out this 90s slang I've never heard of.
What was it?
she did this throughout the film, but like one example was like when threatening her brother, she was like, "You'll be a pizza topping." I don't know what that means.
I could see hearing that on Full House though. I think that might be like an early 90s thing. I'm 95. I think you're 90 what? 6?
I'm 95.
You're 90. We're the same age?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so dumb. When were you born?
I'm the elder stateswoman. I was born in 91.
Okay. So were they saying that a lot in 92?
I don't remember threatening anybody that they would be a topic.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it felt like, you know how like on iCarly they would just like make up these really weird slang words. It felt like that.
I feel like I've seen that in an episode of Full House. I could be wrong though. Wait, was that your last thing you liked about it?
Oh no, no.
Okay.
My last is that like it is a genuinely fun concept. Like like honestly, I don't even care that the fact hell is going through like all these extra steps to get souls makes no sense. Like like it's just a fun way to like get characters out and like have a bunch of fun gags.
I think the hell side of the story is a little underplayed. I would honestly watch a 10-part series just detailing how Hellivision came to being. Like, what was the system before? Was it hard to get Lucifer on board? Like, who was the first contestant in the show? I want all that. I want to know what the corporate structure is like. How do you get promoted? Like, how demons are born, I guess, a little bit.
I'm trying to imagine. Can you imagine if Hellivision had ads and sponsors? Just why someone's boiling in lava, and it's like, this segment was brought to you by Walmart.
The thing is, the TV was great. Like, I'd watch Hellivision if I wasn't going to be sucked into the TV.
I sort of alluded to this earlier, but I mean, the moral is basically like, if you're lazy enough to buy this satellite dish from this sketchy salesman and you just want to watch TV, then you deserve to go to hell.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, yeah, because I feel like you're just being punished for like enjoying TV. Like I know people who it's like they just moved away from their hometown. It's just like, oh, this would help me watch out of market sports. Yeah, I'll sign up.
Well, I just want to quote the show Hacks, where the Hannah Einbinder character says, she basically says watching TV at this point doesn't count. It's like reading a book, because watching TV is more wholesome and edifying at this point than being on your phone. So, what might have seemed lazy and not intellectual in the early 90s, now I think watching TV is pretty solid as an activity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, everything in balance, ultimately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what life's about. All right, you want to close this baby up?
Now it's time for our closing statements. I'll go first. While it has a fun, interesting concept, Stay Tuned can't control its chaos enough to focus on the characters and tell a solid story. Not even John Ritter saved it from being a compilation of one-off jokes. I give it an NFL blackout date.
Stay Tuned is a fun movie. It doesn't try to do a lot beyond being a funny and a little bit scary adventure. And I think it wholly succeeds. 9 out of 10 dials not being turned.
Yeah. Do you have any final thoughts on the film?
No, I thought you both had good points.
A very democratic answer. All right. Well, thank you for joining us today. Where can people follow you, and do you have anything you want people to know about? Yeah,
I'm at Anna Arbor on Instagram. I'm on Blue Sky now. I don't even know what my Blue Sky username is. Let me see. I haven't really posted much on there. I'm annaarbor.bluesky.social. And let's see. I I'm trying to get my film in Metuchen into festivals. I'm working on a feature screenplay right now, but nothing really public yet. And I make a lot of sketches and short films with my husband, Matt Levy, who's on Instagram at Matterday_night_Levy.
Who's also been on our podcast
Yep.
before. Go back and check out those episodes.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you again for coming on the pod. I'm Belton Delane Facey,
My name's Chris Schur.
and we will see you all next time.